Hello, I am your host, Manni-kin, and this is my co-host and leader of the Disposable band, the Disposable Reviewer, searching for conversation and or joke to transition to the title card. Conversation and or joke not found. This is embarrassing. This has got to be one of the top 5 worst intros of the show.
Did you hear that? He said the secret phrase. Boot it up. We have the same intro card? We're actually doing something different on this episode. Well, yeah. Okay, yeah. We had to give all our budget to Manni-kin so he can actually talk. It was worth it. So as you probably have guessed, this isn't just a regular review episode. In fact, it's not a review episode at all. As the title card says, it's top 5 caves. So what counts as a cave? Well, I'm not going to be too picky about it. I mean, if it's a tunnel, I'm going to count it, even though a cave's not really a tunnel, or it could be. I don't know, there's like a line that it gets confusing. So I won't get picky about which cave it is. I mean, if there's a hole that can be explored, I'm doing it.
Yo ho ho!
And hopefully that's the only time we make a joke like that on this episode. Anyways, with that, let's go to my number 5 pick. My number 5 pick is from Digimon World for the PlayStation. It's kind of like a glorified virtual pet simulator kind of deal. You know, all the good stuff, feed your Digimon, you know, take him for walks, go fight Digimon, you know, he poops a lot. If you're unlucky, he turns into a poop monster, but you know, whatever. So you're playing the game, you have your rookie Digimon, you beat a few Digimon, and you turn into a champion, which is good, unless you get the poopy one. As soon as your Digimon turns into a champion, you want a good way to kind of test them out. And there are 2 locations you could go after the main one. The first one is Tropical Jungle, but who cares about that? The second one is Drill Tunnel, which I always liked, and I always picked that one over the jungle, just because it seemed like the right place to go. It's a nice place to kind of test out your new champion against that Molemon. I have no idea what's his name. Has a little horn in his nose. Yeah, you fight him. When you first meet him, he's all just kind of like flailing around. He looks funny, and you know, because he's really, really hot. So you talk to him, you get into a fight, and he's like, oh yeah, everything's fine. And that allows you access deeper into the cave. You talk to another one, and he's like, oh, you can't come through here, we're digging. And you're like, well, how can I help? And he's like, you know, you see that pile of dirt? Yeah, just put it in a box and take your Digimon, have him take it outside and come back. And you know, that's a little tedious and it's a little boring trying to make that mound go all the way down. You do get training bonuses and everything, but like, it's not that fun. But as soon as you're done with that, you come into my favorite part of it. It opens up this tunnel, there's a rock in the way, your Digimon has to push it out of the way, and that's when you come to this like lava-y part. And when you go deeper all the way to the end, you meet one of my favorite Digimon, Meramon. And he's like going crazy because it's like super hot or something, and he's mad. And he's like, oh yeah, we're not really, you know, friends with everybody, so I'm gonna destroy this cave. And it's like, well, that's not gonna help anything. And yeah, you beat him and he opens up a restaurant, which is cool, but like when you beat Meramon, I don't know, for me it felt like an actual accomplishment in there. There's little demi Meramons down there, you know, you can talk to them, they'll give you information, some of them will try to trade. There's like hidden secrets in there, and you'll find another Mole Digimon who will say, oh, you know, come back later, we'll open up this hole and it'll be a shortcut, which is a nice shortcut through the mountain. So you can get to different parts of the island. There is another Mole Digimon in there who doesn't really seem like he's doing anything. You go in to it, you talk to him, and he's like, oh, you know, we're digging today, we're digging tomorrow, I'm not going to be done for a long time, just go do what you got to do. As soon as your city's like at level 45, it opens up, and it opens up this really cool tomb looking place, and you go inside and there's like Saber Leomon statues and everything. If you go to it, there's a tablet specifically for Leomon. You give it to him and he joins your city. I don't think he does much, but it just looks cool in general. It's like, yeah, I got Leomon. People love Leomon. And yeah, I like it. So there's this game called Steel Empire for the Sega Genesis, which was pretty cool. It was a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up game, had a little bit of RPG elements in it, not too detailed, but you know, little level-up system. Throughout the whole game, you're either playing as a single-person airplane or you're playing as a blimp. Now, the second level of this game is a giant cave. I mean, think about how huge it has to be in order to fit a single-person plane or a blimp. I mean, it must be like humongous. And it's not just like, a single person blimp, because then that's an air balloon. No, it's a blimp with like propellers making it go forward. It's not just a small little thing. This cave has to be huge. And the whole feel to the cave is just awesome. Like the music is really kind of like slow and creepy, and then there's little spots where like light shows up and like around it's dark. Not super like you can't see anything, but like it's a nice little detail to see, like, oh, if there was actually lights built into the cave, you'd only be able to see around this little portion. In this cave there's also like falling rocks, which is actually pretty cool considering that you're shooting around blowing up enemy airplanes and everything, so of course you're going to cause, explosions and rocks falls and everything. Once you get halfway through the level, there's a mini boss. He's not too amazing, he's just like a tractor shooting light at you or whatever, but it's after the mini boss that's pretty cool. He explodes and he causes this huge avalanche, and your ship suddenly turns around, so you're going in the opposite direction that you were coming from, and there's just a bunch of fire and explosion coming behind you. The music gets insane and crazy, and you're just darting off super fast in this cave, and you have like limited space, you have rocks falling, you have to keep shooting because there's rock pileups that you have to get out of the way. And if you choose the blimp, well, you're pretty much screwed because you should have went with the airplane because it fits in the spaces easier. It's really intense, really scary. You see little health pickups along the way and little carrier balloons. You shoot them, you see the health pack, and you go for it, and then you crash into a wall because you got greedy and you die. That's happened to me on multiple occasions, but it's really cool, and that part makes a lot of the cave, just the whole atmosphere of everything. Actually, like in the beginning of the cave, it's really slow, really creepy crawly, music's going with it and everything, and then just huge explosion, and you have no trouble seeing because you have the giant light of the explosion. And then you get to the boss, but he's kind of just whatever. He's not important, he's not cool. Remember Sonic the Hedgehog 2? That game was fun. Halfway through the game is one of my favorite zones called Mystic Cave Zone. It's purple, it has really great music playing in the background, and floating magic crates. Now the main reason I like the stage is mostly because of the music, but it also has one of my favorite death traps. There's this pit, and typically in Sonic games, if you fall into a pit and there's no bottom, it's automatic death. There's also this other trap that you see in almost any other platformer game, the spikes. And the spikes don't automatically kill you, but you touch them once, you lose all your rings, you touch them again, you die. This is a combination of the two. It's this really, really long pit. There's spikes on the bottom, and if you get in there, you're pretty much screwed. You're stuck, you're dead. And I only remember it being in this specific stage. And I like it because it seems really torturous and over the top for killing Sonic. Like, oh, it's not just a regular death trap because you don't instantly die, but you are gonna die. You just have a small glimmering like shed of hope as you wait for the second hit to come and die. I do like the little moment before you get to Dr. Robotnik. I don't know, like the course that Sonic has to run across, it's usually flat, and for some reason it kind of goes up and down like a roller coaster. I don't know why I decided to include that, but I like it for some reason. I mean, the boss itself isn't that amazing, he's just kind of drilling holes or whatever, but it's like, hey, you beat half of the game, and from this point on it's going to start to get a lot tougher. The Legend of Zelda series has plenty of caves to choose from through its vast library of games. For me personally, I like the first cave in the first game, where you get your sword. It's the It's Dangerous to Go Alone cave. It's the first thing you see in the game pretty much. I mean, as soon as the game opens, you got to choose whether you want to go left, right, or up. But there's also that cave, and it's your first time playing that game. That cave probably like sparked your interest, like, hey, I wonder what's that's there. You go in there, you find the old man, he's like, it's dangerous to go alone, take this. Which is probably something, like, even if you haven't really, like, not into games too much, you probably heard it once or twice somewhere on the internet or whatever. But just that first moment of playing this game, you get this sword, it's like, oh cool, I got this weapon. I also like that the wizard disappears as soon as you grab the sword, like, hey, take this, and I'm out. Like there's something wrong with it or something. People don't usually give away free stuff and then just disappear like that. Like, it's your problem now, kid. What I also like about the cave is that you can actually not go in there if you don't want to. You can just ignore it completely and continue on your quest. It'll be harder, but you can do it, I think. I didn't try it, but I'm pretty sure you can. But out of all the caves in this series, like, none stands out more to me than this one, just because it was like the first Legend of Zelda game that I played, technically the first cave that I ever entered in for this series. And I do like other caves, like, the cave with the little Moblin guy or whatever his name is. He has the little rubies there. It's like, it's a secret to everybody, because he's bribing you to keep a hole in the wall secret or whatever. This one specific cave in Legend of Zelda means a lot. The number one cave is Limestone Cave. It's this really cool cave in Legend of Dragoon, and that game's just amazing to begin with. But in this cave,
Play it.
it's like super early on. It's like your first major cave that you encounter, and it's pretty cool. There's like a little Patamon thing hopping around, and like it just happened right after Lavitz took an arrow to the back of the leg.
Yeah.
And like you go inside the cave, and there's a little part where you like jump over stepping stones to cross a river waterfall thing, and like Dart's like, oh, don't slip, and then like you get to the end and Lavitz slips.
Which is great because you think the girl's gonna be the one that slips, but nope.
Yeah,
the
because
dude.
women are clumsy.
That's what he was implying.
That is actually. I think he might have said, "Shauna, don't slip." But
Shauna, don't sleep.
Lavitz ends up falling, and he's about to fall off waterfall, and then Shauna's like, "Lavitz!" And then like Dart runs over, and Shauna's like, "Lavitz, Dart!" And then she sounds funny. Dart saves Lavitz, pulls him up from falling off the waterfall, takes him to the side, and he's like, "Oh yeah." Lavitz is like, "You saved my life for the second time," because he had just broke him out of prison. And Lavitz was getting overrun by prison guards, and Dart was like, "No, volcano." Volcano! He's like, "This is the second time you saved me," and Lavitz is like, "This is the beginning of a beautiful friendship."
Basically.
And spoilers, like, Lavitz actually dies.
In this disc, because it's a 4-disc game, and in the first disc, at the very end, he's dead.
Yeah, he dies within the first disc, and like, it's kind of foreshadowy because like, oh, Lavitz was about to die, and he took an arrow to the leg earlier, like he was about to die, kind of scene. And this is one of the most heartfelt moments in the game because like Lavitz is like, this is the start of a beautiful like friendship. It's gonna last for a long time. I'm not gonna die anytime soon. You're not gonna die anytime soon.
That's what's implied.
Yeah, it's one of those. And like, Shauna's just there being like, oh, jelly, because she's like, oh, Dot, I love you. Why are you talking to Lavitz? Don't leave me out.
I mean, it's a pretty great cave, first of all, because it looks really nice. Like, the graphics for this game were pretty good for the PlayStation 1. It's a water cave. You fight like a demon snake. Like Disposable reviewers said, it's pretty heartfelt because it kind of messes with the expectations of a game like this. So you have the 3 players and you have the 1 girl, and usually it's like all about the girl, but this time it's like these guys getting to know each other and being bro-y, and it's the beginning of a beautiful bromance. The game sets it up so that when Lavitz does die later on, it just really feels like, oh no, one of the characters is gone. Lavitz!
But then I always remember this cave because it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a beautifully long friendship. This the demon snake, as Fern mentioned, is like kind of tough in the sense that he changes it up, and it's an early boss too. Like you can't just run up and attack him half the time. He hides in a hole, and you can only like shoot him with magic and stuff. It's after the fact where he's like you beat the snake or whatever, and he's just kind of there, like his tongue's sticking out, he's dead, and like you guys are leaving, you're like, oh, everything's fine, and then like the snake wakes up and he goes and he attacks Shauna, and like she like releases her Dragoon magic that she has, but she doesn't know that she has, and like some white light comes out of her forehead or something.
And it disintegrates?
It explodes. It just explodes and disintegrates. That snake, it ceased to exist. Like, if there was any photos of it, it would probably have disappeared from the photos too. That's how disintegrated it was. It was crazy.
It's pretty cool too because she kind of just brushes it off. She's like, okay, we're gonna go now.
She's like, what was that? Are
All
you
right.
okay? Yeah. All right, let's go. I don't know. Just the cave in general. It means more because of the story built up behind it. The cave itself is pretty cool. It looks really nice with the waterfalls and the little fireflies and the little Patamon running around.
You get to slide down the water too.
It's fun, yeah.
Yeah.
But just the story behind it and related to it. That's what really makes the cave.
I think it's good too because on a second playthrough you know what's gonna happen, so that whatever happens in that cave, you're just like, no, I know what's coming.
Yeah, like the first time I played it, I totally just, looked over the cave and like, oh, I saved Flabbits, whatever. Second time I play it, although in my defense, I'm analyzing it more than I normally would because of the show, like you see like just all the foreshadowing that's involved with it.
I got really excited. I think it was on my third playthrough that I might think like, the foreshadowing is death. It's a pretty cool cave. It deserves to have the #1 spot.
And that's why
at least in our opinion.
#1 for Disposable, for at least 2 out of the, 6 people on Disposable reviewer.
The intern would agree, I think.
I don't know. He might, I don't know. But that's why it's #1, at least, for us. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Sorry for the delay in videos. I'll do my best to make new ones faster. In the next episode, find out the top caves for some of the members of the Disposable crew. I originally wanted them in this episode, but this one's already taking way too long. And with that, I leave you with a link to the last Disposable reviewer episode, as well as a highlights video from some of the episodes of Disposable gameplay. See you next time.